just staying focused week to week. Although I don't see that being a problem with this team like it was some of the other teams. They seem to do a good job.
Well, you know, I was in question a little bit after the bye, J-Rock. The slow start I saw after the bye, I thought to myself, oh, my goodness, they lost their focus. But let me tell you, yesterday's game, if you look at all the games we've played this season, this was the most complete Cleveland Browns football team game that we've seen this year.
Yeah, first couple drives were rough, and that was
the defense, even though the offense was slow starting, the defense never gave Pittsburgh anything. You never once felt yesterday that there was any kind of a momentum shift going over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's how well the Cleveland Browns defense handled them yesterday. Because you know as well as I do, J-Rock, that momentum shift is what could kill a football team. But I got to tell you, nowhere did we witness that yesterday with the Cleveland Browns defense on the field. Never did Ben Roethlisberger get into what I want to call a clear rhythm, and never was he able to get the momentum shifted over towards the Steelers. The entire game was controlled by both the Cleveland Browns offense. Even though the offense was a little slow starting, some of that could be conservative by Shanahan. Let's see what we can go and pick apart here. Let's try the run game. Let's do this. So there was a couple 3-and-outs early. But you got to admit, J-Rod Daddy, this was the most complete Cleveland Browns football team win as far as let's start as soon as the gun goes off in the opening kickoff that we've seen this entire season.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. You know, I mean, and they didn't wait until, halftime to make the adjustments this time. But I mean, gotta say, and you guys can tell me I'm wrong, but I needed to see what they did yesterday. In fact, the comeback in Tennessee was going to have. I think if there's a game that you turn the corner, not just the cliche of turn the corner, but it's a psychological thing, man. And when that team did what they did in Tennessee, man, they think they can beat anybody. And I believe I'm just saying, they can beat anybody, but they can beat anybody. But, yeah, they think they can now, and we saw that. And yesterday, the way they started and just a turned corner is the way to go. And I agree with you, Bruce, to a point. Bruce in the chat room just pointed out that I don't want to. In no way am I going to say the bobbled snap on the field goal turned the game. I mean, you're only talking about a 3-point swing, and the Browns would have still done whatever they like. Nothing changed the game there except it cost the Steelers 3 points. I don't necessarily think that was a
I don't think 3 points was going to hurt us play like that. Because
it was big.
We didn't bet in his team a touchdown until it was garbage football.
Well, right.
Time.
I'm just saying that was big because you did take a little momentum, but it wasn't huge to me. It was a play, and it was kind of the last real offensive opportunity that Pittsburgh had for the rest of the game until the fourth quarter. But it did begin the momentum change for sure, because then they came down, had the drive, made a couple plays, and then I'll tell you what was the moment when I realized yesterday's game was going to go a different direction was when they scored in like 3 plays. I mean, Jerry and I were talking after the one touchdown, and then the touchdown to Cameron, and I go, wait a minute, was that like a 1-play touchdown drive? And it was 3 plays, but it was so quick that I was just like, wow, they just scored again. Wait a minute, what is happening to this game? And next thing you know, the route was on, man, and you kept waiting. And I'm not going to lie, if you're anything like me, you still kept waiting. And I thought maybe Mack getting hurt was going to be that moment where something goes wrong and the momentum changes back for Pittsburgh, because it always did in the past. But that moment just never came, and the Browns just kept putting the foot on the throat and finished the game off, man. And that's all I got to say is these are not your children's Browns anymore. Returning back to something that is football. LG, my man, I'm up against it. I got to let you go. What a great phone call.
Hey, no problem, brother. You keep rocking over there, J-Rock Daddy, and we can't wait till next week, and we talk again after the Jacksonville. Racking them, and we're getting ready for the playoffs.
I'm not even going there just yet. I'm looking at games over 500. That'll be a good feeling if we can just take care of that. LG, thank you very much. We're going to take a break. When we come back, John McMullen from the Sports Network joins us. We'll get his take on the Browns' victory over Pittsburgh, on the entire AFC North, the only division in football with every team at 500 or better right now. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Dallas going to Seattle and taking care of business, injuries around the league, Pacman Jones running off at the gums, and more. Talk some NFL around the league and here in Cleveland with John McMullen from the Sports Network. Coming up next, Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan, and so much more. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the news here on the Sports Fix.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into...
The Sports Fix. We'll be right back. It's an addiction. The Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
Business owners and professionals, do you want to take your business, your product, your team, your event to the next level? You want to advertise right here with the Sports Fix. Our listeners are among the most loyal listeners, terrestrial or internet. The Sports Fix universe is not only the radio show, but tens of thousands of fans on Facebook and Twitter. Email me, Jerry Myers, thesportsfix@AOL.com. That's thesportsfix@AOL.com. And let me help you swing for the fences and hit it out of the park right here on the Sports Fix. Whether it's an oil change or a new set of tires, Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck has you covered for your automotive car care needs. They're your neighborhood quick service experts. They also offer a low price tire guarantee. Choose from 13 brands, and if you find the same tires at a lower price within 30 days, Quick Lane at Valley Ford will refund the difference. They're open late Monday through Thursday until 9 p.m. and open early Saturday so you can check it off your to-do list and get on with your day. They also have a newly remodeled service lounge and additional service bay just for Quick Lane oil changes. Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck is located at 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 Bridge in Valley View, just down the road from Independence. Come see why life is better in the Quick Lane. quicklane.com/Valley Ford Truck. That's quicklane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Signs and Ship, the official printing source of the Sports Fix. Locations in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Florida. Find out more at signsandship.com.
News break.
Good morning, I'm Bob Picozzi. He led the NFL in rushing with 1,600 yards last season, but through the first 5 games this season, LaShawn McCoy of the Eagles ran for only 273 yards. In Sunday Night Football, he was the real McCoy, dissecting the Giants for 149 yards in a 27-0 lathering.
I never lost confidence in myself or the guys in front. I mean, you guys did, or the people out there did. So I don't mind it. I got thick skin. I'm here to play ball. And the thing that really blows me away is if we weren't that good as a running team, then why is every team coming here stacking the box if they're not that good?
The Giants not only lost the game, but they lost their best receiver. Victor Cruz tore the patellar tendon in his right knee. He's out for the season. 49ers have won their last 6 Monday night games. They'll visit the Rams tonight in St. Louis, 8:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. Since the League Championship Series became a best-of-7 in 1985, no team has lost the first 2 games at home and won the series. After losing games 1 and 2 in Baltimore, the Orioles will be in Kansas City tonight for Game 3, 7 Eastern Time on ESPN Radio. And testimony began this morning in the sentencing hearing for Olympic sprinter Oscar Pistorius, who was found guilty of culpable homicide.
Whatever you're staying fit for, start at Subway. With loads of great-tasting, surprisingly low-fat fresh-fit sandwiches like the tender turkey breast, piled high with your favorite fresh veggies like spinach. Get it made the way you say on freshly baked bread. Subway. Eat fresh.
You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix live across the Sports Fix Radio Network. Getting ready to roll into hour 2, numero dos here on the Sports Fix. J-Rock back with you. Going to be joined in just a moment on the phone lines by my man John McMullen from the Sports Network. Going to talk some NFL and some, I heard they say the real McCoy there in the break. I'll tell you what, rumor coming out of Washington already. is that Colt McCoy, former Browns quarterback, may get the job. They may bench Kirk Cousins over there. So I saw him talking about it in the chat room, and then I heard the news break. They said the real McCoy. I said, speaking of, man, Colt McCoy, LaShawn McCoy there last night. A good game there last night. If you're not a Giants fan, or if you don't have Victor Cruz in your fantasy football league, like some people do. I don't know. If you know anybody that happens to have Victor Cruz in his starting fantasy football league and also host the Sports Fix, let me know. I happen to know that person. It's me. Like, I wasn't having enough trouble getting back on my feet here this season. Then Victor Cruz had to go down as well. Gonna be fun replacing him. I mean, I've got 2 and 3 wide receivers, but Victor Cruz. Victor was keeping me afloat when I was having my running back problems, and now fantasy football issues. Hashtag fantasy football problems. Anyways, let's talk about all of that. The Browns, Pacman Jones, and more. My man, John McMullen from the Sports Network is on the hotline, which means you've got to keep it rolling on Facebook and Twitter and email. And those of you that are sending me your little ha-has about my wide receiver situation, karma is a mean lady. That's all I've got to say to you. Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFix, CLE. Email us, TheSportsFix@AOL.com. Problem is most of you guys are Clevelanders too, so I don't want too much karma on you because it'll probably affect something that I care about too. But anyway, stop laughing at me. Victor Cruz. Anyways, John McMullen from the Sports Network on the phone lines. Let's go there now. Bizarro NFL world yesterday as Cleveland stomps the grapes into wine of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Dallas goes on the road to Seattle and beats the 12th man and more. Let's start there. John McMullen from the Sports Network. How you doing? It's Monday, a crazy Monday here in the NFL.
That always is. You can't predict this league from week to week, and yesterday was no different.
Absolutely not. From upsets to crazy finishes to teammates speaking out against their teammates and, of course, to injuries. A lot going on. I guess let's start where we were before the break. We're talking Browns and yesterday's game, and so many people, you, me, everybody, all the different people, the pundits, the guests that we talk to every week, everybody kind of looked at last, whether you were on the hedging your bets, whether you were on the, waiting to see. Last week was a real litmus test for everybody in a lot of different reasons, because it was a team that has always owned you, and it was a team that just beat you at the beginning of the season, and there was a lot of questions on what happens with the momentum from the Nashville thing. Does it end in Nashville, or does it come back with you? And I think we saw that may truly be a psychological corner turn for the Browns, because they owned the Steelers yesterday. I don't think you saw that coming, even if maybe you thought the Browns were going to win.
No, you didn't see it. You could certainly see the Browns winning the game, but to win it that emphatically, anyone who says that is probably lying to you. So to me, it starts with the running game. Obviously, when you look at what happened and the fact that Tate and Kroll, combined for over 160 yards, and Ben Tate, maybe the numbers didn't look that good, but the fact that he pounded the rock 25 times, it set up the play action, and it worked at perfection, especially with Jordan Cameron there, and that's what it's about, and that's what they're doing. I think it was. Every week it's basically, Joe Thomas. He might be the best left tackle in football, and if he's not, he's on the very short list of who is. But the other tackle too, Mitchell Schwartz. I think those were the two guys that dominated yesterday and set things up for Cleveland.
You brought up Joe Thomas earlier when LG and I were talking, of course, the injury to Alex Mack. A lot of times I talk to you guys listening out there, of course, and I talk about, and it's something I mentioned when the Browns tried to bring in guys, not just for what they do on the field, but in the locker room with Dansby and guys like, Whitner and that kind of thing, but examples. And I always say, well, like when we were talking about should the Cavs, trade Wiggins, I said, I think whatever his ceiling may be, I think the peak of it could be if he's exposed in his learning days to an example like one of the top players in the game, whether you're talking about